Hello, hello, hello. Hi, friends. Wanted to say hello and thank you for coming to visit us today. I'm sure a lot of you came from out of town, and a lot of you are here from Seattle. This space is called Common Area Maintenance. It's a collective studio run by about 14 artists right now, gallery and studio space, and we're really excited to be opening up the doors to AWP. We have 70 writers over the course of 5 days, and a library, which I'm sure you've noticed, and we've also made an incredible publication, which is going to be available for you to pick up if you want to. Take a look, it's on the shelf. And I wanted to also say that we're on the unceded tribal lands of the Duwamish and Muckleshoot and coastal Salish communities. So I want to, if you folks aren't from Seattle, to take special note of that. And if you want to go home and do some research, it would be really wonderful. So this is the space, and we're really, really excited to see you. Tiny little announcements. There's a bathroom in the back, so please, if you have to go or anything you need, it's back there. Drink, go ahead and grab it. And also, we have a map of all the off-site events we have in Seattle. So that's free. Grab it. It's right there. We made that actually with Seattle City of Literature in collaboration. Printed it here in the studio, and it's super, super cute.
It's also not all the offsite events, because it sounds like there's over 200.
Oh, yeah.
So it's those that got back to us, but many of the venues. So.
Yeah. And so I want to bring up DJ Lee, and I'd like to bring up Pamela Ushuk to introduce the rest of the night, or evening.
Both cancer survivors, so we have to be very careful.
Like all of us do. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you so much to the folks at Common Area Maintenance, Timothy Firth, who you just heard from, Robert Baxter, Whitney Bashaw, who are back there. Can we just give them a hand? That love, care, creativity, and energy that they put into this series of offsite readings it's just truly astounding. If you'll look at those library shelves that Timothy made out of a single piece of limba wood, he sawed it up, put it back together so that all the face panels match up perfectly. And if you look along the wall, you'll see a continuous grain pattern. And that's what he made for our books. They've also put together, oh my gosh, I just bent it, but anyway. An anthology with a hand-marbled title page you'll see here, 72 pages of text and graphics, hand-sewn, if you want to kind of leaf through it, Pam, with author biographies of all of us, our text, the details of the events themselves, and there's also an art gallery, as you'll see along the walls, and a catalog, an art catalog, and a list of texts that are installed in the library. Did you want to say something, Robert, about the books?
Yeah, so we're a little behind on the printing of the books right now and the binding of them. They're in piles in the back of the space, which you'll see if you wander back. But we hope to have some at the fair on Saturday and around here. And we're taking like emails or contact info if you're interested in getting a copy. It anthologizes the poets from tonight, as well as everyone else who is speaking at the 6 events that we're hosting over AWP.
That's so awesome. I also just really quickly want to thank Jasmine Elizabeth Smith, who's here, and Mita Mahato. They're both current fellows, yay, of Black Earth Institute, and they are the ones that made the connection between Cutthroat, Black Earth, and Common Area Maintenance. I want to thank Pam, my collaborator on this, for being patient with me, and finally Michael McDermott, who is the co-founder of BEI, and he could not be here at AWP this year, but he is donating a lot of time and other things to this event. We're so excited for all of the readers here today. I wanted to make a special acknowledgement for several of our readers. Ann Fisher-Worth, who won the 2023 Governor's Arts Award for Excellence in Literature and Poetry. Lauren Camp. I think Lauren has a lot of events, and so she might be wandering in, but she is the current Poet Laureate of New Mexico, and she's extremely responsible and extremely busy, so wonderful poet. And finally, we're just so proud of our colleague Allison Adele Hedge-Koch, whose book, Look at This Blue, was a finalist for the 2022 National Book Awards for Poetry. Some of the books are for sale back there, and you can get the readers to sign them. You can buy them and get the readers to sign them after the event. Okay, Pam, did you want to say?
Yeah, I did. First, I want to thank DJ Lee, my collaborator, and she is absolutely wonderful to work with. If you have to work with anyone on an event, find DJ, because she is very patient and tolerant, and I appreciate that, as well as being a very creative person. And I wanted to say that we brought copies of Through the Ash, New Leaves, which is an anthology of poetry and prose put out by Cutthroat, a Journal of the Arts, and the Black Earth Institute. I am both a Black Earth Institute board member and a senior fellow of Black Earth, and editor-in-chief and founder of Cutthroat, a Journal of the Arts. All the profits from this anthology go to endangered species preservation, and we've given money to save the Yellowstone grizzly this year, and also to the Northern Jaguar Project, and we will pursue this. So thank you for being here tonight with us.
Okay, so Pam and I are going to both read a cancer survivor poem to one another, and then we will just proceed through the list. All you need to do is introduce the person that follows you on the list, and you'll have 5 minutes, and once your 5 minutes, just so we stay on time, because another group is going to be using this space after us. So
this is our version of the hook, because we don't have one.
Okay, Pam, do you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely. This poem is from my book Refugee, which is at the Red Hen Press table, and I'll be doing a book signing at 11 o'clock on Saturday for DJ. Green flame, slender as my ring finger, the female hummingbird crashed into plate glass, separating her and me before we could ask each other's name. Green flame, she launched from a dead eucalyptus limb. Almost on impact, she was gone, her needle beak opening twice to speak the abrupt language of her going, taking in the day's rising heat as I took one more scalding breath, horrified by death's velocity. Too weak from chemo not to cry, for the passage of her emerald shine, I lifted her weightlessness into my palm. Morning doves moaned, hoo, hoo, oh hoo, while her wings closed against the tiny body. Sky would quick forget, as soon as it would forget mine.
Thank you so much, Pam. And mine is called Divided by Zero, and this is for Pam. I wanted this day all winter, water chiming in the fountain, robins digging worms, our simple walk down gridded streets, even as death divides me, notes of peony, rose, French hydrangea, tongue pink hibiscus on the palate. Everything, the whole neighborhood, brims with warbling summer, and I'm reminded anything multiplied by zero is nothing. Your shuffle 20 steps ahead, the 300-year-old oaks. your outward turn to read your device. 78 degrees, 10-mile crosswind, S&P 500 down 29 points. 26 states will outlaw abortion, my 30% chance of survival. I turn inward to last night's dream, the equation at the center. I wanted to be a teacher of zero, but instead I was equal to the multiplying, to the cisplatin silvering my teeth, because anything divided by zero is infinite.
Our first reader tonight is Richard Jackson, but he is not here, and I'm going to read his poem. Unfortunately, he came down with COVID just before the conference. He's a very popular teacher at Vermont College for the Arts and also at University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Sorry. This is called Bread. For Maria, her photo in Ternopil Oblast. It looks like you're standing in your kitchen before a dozen loaves of palyanitsa, the saints as they are called, for citizen soldiers. I've watched my own wife knead and wad bread as if somehow she was shaping a world that had yet to be imagined or remembered. I imagine the mourning doves, Holub Jolove, pecking at the crumbs just beyond your frame. Maybe they are the same doves that landed on the hands of the priest in Kharkiv as the shells and rockets landed around him. Here the doves are scrambling to find a few seeds beneath the light snow covering. They know nothing of your war, or do they? I saw the same doves around the rubble in Bosnia, the same near split. Light stammered through heaps of ruins there as if it wanted to say something. How much does a shadow weigh? A girl once asked in Bosnia, in another war like yours. I thought then how the body shrinks, how our lives starve on the way to their own emptiness. It is your saints that sustain us. Though far from you, the airstrike on a bread factory in Makariv killed 13 fellow bakers and tells us what you mean to us. It is impossible to feel what they felt or you feel, though we try with words that have no real translation. And what is the heart anyway, but a wadded ball of half-written poems? I have a sheet. Aaron Hollowell, Director of Story Knife.
Not everyone is as tall as I am, so I'll just scratch a little. This is from my brand new book. Look, here it is. I saw it this morning. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you, everybody, for being. These are small poems. They're sestets. They're 6 lines of 9 syllables each to celebrate my 54th year. They were written from September 20th to March 21st. My birthday to the spring equinox, and there we go. Corvus and Crater. Roadside prophet, hagstones and feathers rattle you along until evening you find your tree, birch, spruce, or alder, and thereon perch, or curl into wild rose and raspberry thicket. Tell us, Who loves the keyhole over the key? Sainthood made of isobars. After she finds her edges, the smudge of moon glint through spindrift remembers herself to herself, like a blunt print of a careless god's thumb. She never meant to let go of her miracle, wings made of darkness stitched to her back. Erasing the words as she writes them. Each mountain trails a veil of spindrift tethered to high, cold wind. It could be that there is only one word they speak, but who could climb high enough and still be humble enough to listen? Crow heard the word and maybe understood. This crows through the whole thing. Choir Hive, and this was originally published in Orion. Against white sky, the birch tree opens its many dark mouths. She hears its words, golden river under snow, secret honey, clapper of vein-scribed marble, that bell rings each full moon, now waning, now feeding the mountain underneath. Ritual for the last bridge home. You become a deer, a salmon, take flight from a flat gray lake, wings rushing to meet yourself anew. What mirror could keep up with the changes wrought by your God? All the ways your myth demands another sacrifice, one more life. And finally, the way we recognize each other. Time owns a vast labyrinth, scented with beeswax and rain on rotted wood planks. Crow likes to dance there. She's humming some rough song. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, memory, 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 then the whomp of her wings as she leaves. Thank you. I'm going to invite up Melissa Stutter.
I'm going to read 2 poems, one short one from my new collection. Can y'all hear me? I feel like I'm not close enough to this. Thank you. Yeah, I'm tall and I have heels on, so thank you. I don't trust myself to hold it and not drop it, so. There we go, sound. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm reading one poem from Dear Selection Committee and one from Through the Ash New Leaves. And this is a short one. It was originally published in the Kenyan Review. And I don't know if y'all remember in, I think it was 2019, an orca named Talikwa carried a dead calf on her head. This is about that. It's called Tour of Grief. All 17 days, the orca wore her dead like a crown. Sorrow riling to a bob and weave, knocking her hollow. What water and womb could no longer carry, she had to carry. We watched through binoculars, as if distance were real, as if we were not also tottering on the head of an exhausted, grieving mother, as if we were not also becoming too cumbersome, too heavy to bear. Okay, and my next poem, animal poems today, is called In Praise of Darkness, or Why You Should Turn Off the Light. And this is for the hatchling turtles of Manasota Key. And I wrote this to be hung at the Hermitage Artist Residency underneath the lights, because when I first got there, I didn't know to turn off the lights. And I was like, I don't want someone else to make this mistake. And it's also penance. Okay. The turtles mistake our lamplight for a slice of moon, the way a human child thinks the sun is a lemon lollipop dropping from the hand of the great bank teller in the sky. And I can't tell you why what's scoot-shelled and strong-nailed is also so delicate beneath the armor, or why it is we so often bend to meet the systems of our own destruction. It's like a circle boxed into a square and circled again. On one end of the planet, an amorous 190-year-old tortoise named Jonathan mates with his two favorite lovers, Emma and Fred. And at the other, loggerhead hatchlings can't tell the difference between light and light, as if their bodies cling, codified but confused, to the cycles of a burning world. I've heard it said it's turtles all the way down, the unspooling thread of flipper and tail, salt and jaw. That's why every poet eventually drinks enough wine to drown in a moon some careless god dropped into a sea. Poets know darkness is the place we all go to be beautiful. They know, come nightfall, that artificial orb, the lamp, must be hidden, fastened back into its origin, the human mind. Thank you. So I have the pleasure of introducing Maddie Lane Glasgow, and I think this is the second time I've gotten to introduce him in a reading, so you're in for a treat.
Always a pleasure to follow Melissa. Very sorry if I don't live up to her high standards. I just have two short poems for y'all today. The first is about a goose that bit my mother. It's called Silly Goose. I recently drew a map of my childhood, a cul-de-sac on the edge of a great lake, a bench beneath an old oak, a feather-dusted shoreline where I craved more than breadcrumbs or confit de canard. One summer night, I held stale bread between my fingers like crusted sandpaper. So dry, mallards and geese quacked, "Bitch, please," squawked, "Hell nah," until Mama's scream pierced the flutter of feathers, and I saw a pair of white wings spread wide and shimmer in the street lamp. The goose lowered his head, and his bristled beak tore right through her pantyhose. I remember how everything fell in the shadows. Handfuls of bread on the grass, Mama's blood dripping from her calf to the shore's plumage. It's strange how things that belong somewhere else always seem so violent out of place, like soft wingless feathers or a hunger for the wrong kind of flesh. This next one takes a turn. This is about glory holes. If you don't know what a glory hole is, you will in a moment. All afternoon. Yesterday, I built a glory hole, but no one came. So I knelt alone, without a claim, my eyes on the clean tile floor, the wall unstained. What's a boy to do with such shame? Kneeling hollow-jawed in a duct-tape frame, I crooned, "A hole is a hole," all afternoon. A sinful hymn to fan some flamer's flame. There was no pilgrimage, no seaman monsoon strewn hard-pressed against that holy wall, just an empty ark, an unanswered call. Blame anonymity, but we'll make this stall a relic today. I've got to untame your body. So come on, lean in, lay claim. When you can't see the face, it's all the same. Genuinely did not expect applause for that poem. It is truly a privilege to introduce Allison Adele Hedgecock.
Wait, can we use the other one?
I'm really clumsy, so I'm trying to put it where I won't destroy things. Okay. Here's the front-facing book. Okay. Look at this blue, Cirrus blue butterfly from the sand dunes of San Francisco, the first known American butterfly to become extinct due to humans, first known. Redwood burls cut like blisters shaved from trunks, poach life source from root, killing giants and knobby growth removals, baseline canopy height, bud tissue, unsprouted genetic code for clone of parent tree emergence. There was a barrel at my mouth, ready cocked. It was held there by my baby brother's bare grip. A lemon wedge moon popped over, flat consume shallow, over sweet sound, low rustle, in lodi water. Chortle trill, night language from standing cranes, sandhills. They've been there all along, standing still, knee-deep in station pools. Orion is hovering eastward, drawn and readied. Someone slinks past door jam, each chokehold held, vaporizes cognizance. In a world fast shaking herself loose from diabolical torrent, rising throttled song above throttled breath, choked out between calligraphies, madness, clenched fury, unfurled release, misery met, and each pummel to break. It's not over. Sleep in despair, sleep moth-tongued, unrolled against central incisors, human-throated, deep yearns for saxophone, trachea windpipe, sandhills chortle, the only saving grace, wetlands marshaled. There's nothing here on guardian watch. Riverside, reaching back for slip skateboard, he was hit so hard he flew while braking. A crow above, whose wings were sunning, swooped at the same time the car careened to halt on Martin Luther King Road, near Borwell Park, east side, where the speed limit suddenly increases while approaching two close crosswalks leading to homes from Stratton Community Center, Bordwell, Emerson Elementary, east side, black, brown kids, elders. Anyone can see someone once worked this out. It's all going to burn, said the man accused of setting holy fire. First, the puma in Santa Paula palm branch, then coyotes, fox, rabbits appeared. Birds overcome sky, plume, then the entire yard, a carpet of undulating fleas, so thick wrapping bread bags over our feet and ankles barely made it passable. Everything escaping heat from the fire-stormed arson, 120,000 acres, blanket fire, Los Padres National Forest, and more, choking like the child they found, still hung there. Sleep in the dream of bettering world, sleep in the dream, nightmare woken. What we carry howls, boggling, her cheek contorts in flame, unfanned yet fanning. She eclipses all asunder, all broken. Scarface vision and temporal melt. Somewhere on my left face, you can still see where it was sewn back on. On the right, the line across the eyelid where it was sewn back on. On the abdomen, the line where it was sewn back, sewn back. Somewhere on my right hand where it was sewn, all the heres and theres were sewn. All the biopsies, removals, explorations, assaults, sewn. What we carry weeps wet-haired. Her cheek contorts when sprayed by a guard, and from the first time she attempted, her neck ached. Meanwhile here, a third body in Baldwin Hills fire. More are missing. Arson again. Someone is out there. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor and privilege to introduce to you Jasmine Elizabeth Smith, who won the Georgia Prize for her book, South Flight, and is an exemplary poet, writer, and just a terrific human being that I'm very privileged to know and love. So welcome to the stage, Jasmine.
Thank you, Allison, for that reading, and thank you all for being in this space and sharing this space with me. I'm going to be reading from Southlight this afternoon. I am going to start with, let me find it. From the Southern Slave Medical Companion. For worms, eat sugar-laced drops of turpentine in the afternoon. And for your wellness, drink tinctures of horse mint and wild sage to quit cravings for dirt, longing for homes, clamp the red of tongue with a clothespin so it don't come loose from wash line. Bleed and cup your temples for grief, and for fits of apoplexy, to cuts both visible and them yet to be seen, apply vinegar wet cloths. To purge many unwanted thoughts, dose bitter peach tree bark taken by spoonfuls every hour. To prevent pregnancy, lay motionless. Hold a brass pin, 6 copper coins under your lip as he takes his fill. Consume gunpowder, pellets of birdshot, mix with milk for 9 days. For unwanted pregnancy, chew the root of cotton plants. But if you do, and that baby is stillborn, pray mercy, 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 and avoid the beds of sick houses at all cost. Jim recalls his birth as a wasp, October 24th, 1921. My mama's pain was my first birthright, stung by wasps month 4 she found out she was with child, I the 9th, and she pray I turn her open river on bed, clot milk silk, acre her breasts long. I was just another man's hunger she ain't got the means to feed. Cursing first breath, I came to blue, choked, bed cover, apple red. Been my experience, my blood ain't tender, too big for any woman to hold inside of her. Pitched in afterbirth pale, my spirit something far flung. And if I was a man of sight, I'd sense my troubling way back then. And if I, a peddler of porch herbs, pinch this, a mouthful of that, I'd give my mama a swig of love, sweeten what suffering spit out. Make her moonshine, no man, dead or alive, swell her to a feeling. A wasp isn't a bee. Don't sacrifice hurting others, and I whole hives. Jealous tinfold my eyes, wings pinch, back pin cushion if I don't take off. That my mama crush a wasp with the back of her hand. Better yet, let me slice backdoor air where I belong. I have one more very short one to finish this series. Jim imagines he and Charlie Patton pick a boll weevil from a backyard Chicago crop. A boll weevil ain't much different from you, hauled across state lines, wind hissing you from place to place. You brought nothing but clothes on your back and a hunger so hooked you blade 10,000 acres of Oklahoma cotton, Chicago or Kansas City graystones in just a matter of years. Hackjaw, black folks' work is never done, chew through ripening cotton bowls, sundown curfews, the hearts of our lovers. And when a farmer say, why do you pick my farm? I got a respect for someone that can eat through a bushel of arsenic or a sheared fist with a ravenous mouth. Look white folks straight in the eyes when caught with a mouthful, a parcel of land or cash. Say, I will eat, we will eat, no matter if placed in keg of ice when burned down to infested root. I'm so sorry to introduce the Poet Laureate of New Mexico, Lauren Camp.
What a beautiful reading. I have 2 poems, And I'm sorry to be late, but it's so amazing to be outside and listen, so I didn't miss anything. Okay, the first poem is called For Sale. In the spectacular town where I live, the sun offers 42 medicines every hour, and I've never been somewhere as intricately cinnamon or poised. Most people here talk of planets and divisions of retrograde. We all need excuses. I don't have even limited knowledge of astrology, so I just now Googled and learned the sun controls ego and self. And today, my husband quit his job with the angry realtor who runs in and out of his downtown office and stages his frustration about bank details as he jiggles cold keys. My sweetest left him an invoice and, sorry, I'm done with this attitude, in the perfect cursive he's used since 4th grade. Then got in his truck and went to the corner for fuel. Saw a homeless man squatting in a small diameter with a gas can and guitar, a grin. My man filled that little tin tank and drove Carl across the street. Carl wants to start a circus, my sweetest tells me, and I think we all want to conjure new ways to loop from daily rituals. The muscle of pandemonium and anger surrounding our heavy times. Want bold enchantment, the sugar of thickened color. Across town, right then, I was at the gym, left, right, obedient, core, and after in the locker room, talking easy to a woman changing into a robin's egg blue swimsuit. We savored tales of the wastes of our gardens, my slow, timid aspens with their tiny gold bells. She said she had extra thieves' poplars, and do I want them? Yes, I want them, I said, because I need tall and stable in this life. After all, isn't there always a canon of news? To evade it, I again go online, learning what seems ridiculous. Ranks of sentences, declarative, imperative, interrogative, exclamatory. The very substance of dare, of wound, beginning. No one knows which bends the most. In my rural village, a neighbor is selling tiki torches, 10, and bottles of fuel. Someone else has a picture of multiple tires on Craigslist. Everyone is selling something to someone. Everything is switching hands. Did you know there is new violence in Gaza? People throwing burning tires and rocks? How we tell time has a perimeter. Around us, shifting performers. An open-air prison filled with its sentences. I think BEI and Cutthroat is a beautiful combination. Okay, so this last poem is called Exercise in Heart, and it is the final poem in one of my new books that's coming out this year, and the first time I'm reading it to real live people. Exercise in Heart. We've had to stop trying, and we've had to go on. The path seemed only soft stems, then a landscape, spacious, partly vandalized. Birds paddled in with their voluptuous chanting, slashing our impudent truths. We were moving along a ridge. Tender, the sun began to embroider the meager shrubs, which were not flaming with petals. They seemed to have fallen asleep, nodded off in the fields, but hadn't lain down. A chubby trail propelled us through the final damp thought of autumn into a quest without speaking ugly world tensions. No need, after all. The path sauntered with its geographies and stony slopes. At one hurried curve, horses swelled by, faces lined the prow. Clop and clop their purpose. We slid to the side. The sky in an hour would be descending in a watermelon lace, quickly wrapping to a matter of recess, each mountain devouring the next. Then we'd squint through binoculars at planets. A quick tilt would show us a halo, a future, a silvery pulse. Imagine that. Whatever we see, we can call evidence. Thank you. I am very happy to get off the stage and welcome Alice Tsang to the stage.
Thank you, Lauren. Before I start, would anyone please record this for me so that I can send it to my family who are in China? Yes, thank you. Oh, yes. I mean, my family doesn't understand English, so I don't know why they want to see it. Okay. All right, my name is Alice. I am an English as second language poet, writer, and scholar. I have 2 poems for you today. This first one is about Los Angeles, where I have been living. Evening Zuhitsu. The dog lets out a long breath when it turns dark. It turns dark so that the shadows can live. We cut through Ghost Town, a shadow of a place where palm trees try really hard to reach the dry expanse of sky. In an interview, I was asked, "What brought you here?" I'm here because I'm not there. If not there, anywhere. Here, I met a man who only dated me in parking lots and asked me to split gas money, for whom I fell into a bush when drunk. After telling this story, I was hugged for 3 minutes in the frozen aisle, agreeably close to Asian Delights, where I will stock up on wonton. Yesterday at lunch, a squirrel ate my Reese's wrapper, vigilant. I was worried. For a moment, I couldn't tell if the squirrel was me. Wind pangs on the window pane. Wind in her hair is her favorite song. I'm sorry for the pain, I'm sorry for the pain. Were it true that wishes to the stars come true, I would wish for not wanting, instead the palm trees. Red, green, red, I jaywalk to make a statement. It's okay if you don't understand. A bird will sing, although I cannot hear it. I cannot name the pink flower on the street side, half blossomed, crossing paths with its own decay. Drooping, the flower has lost interest in all things pretty. This last poem is about Beijing, where I was born and raised. Last hour of twilight. In the comfortable alibi of the moon, a river, dark blue, through colonnades of shadows, subverted stars, slender veins of the hefty boulevards, runs into me. Anonymous, astray, in this parched city, quietly asking to be named. It's you is what I don't say. I close my eyes and imagine what was once a debris flow, soft, silent, how you traveled. Sharp ends of the night grass on standby, watchful for dew, traffic pauses, laminating ants into amber, whispers shattered to shards. My hand almost open, a search. Listening close to the river, breaking on concrete, longing to be touched, loved by a clinging gaze, so I sit down and gaze. I touch and I name. I love like a generous drifter, remembering a man who left behind a river near home at 18 and never returned. The river ran dry, he said, but I think he lied. because all rivers are one, and this river is that, and the Pacific is this, and all waters are our river. In momentary passing, light crusts in spots and patches that are flakes from the sky, every river a scar that we each choose and call it our own. Thank you. And now, may I have the honor to introduce Terry Kirsten. Welcome.
I will be sharing 2 poems this evening. One is my own through the ash new leaves, and the second poem that I'll share is Monique Farrell's poem. My poem is 44, 45, and 46, and it contains a quote from Lisa Friedman, New York Times, January 4th, 2022. President Obama believed the science of climate change and instituted a plan to reduce global warming. President Trump, a skeptic and oil corporation promoter, dismantled his plan. President Biden overpromised and underdelivered on climate change. Meanwhile, the glaciers are still melting, and it was so hot in February that it reminded me of a day in July when I walked barefoot at the beach, my feet digging in the cold water of the ocean as its waves licked at my toes. I'm no scientist or skeptic, but either Mother Nature was having a hot flash or she'd gotten her seasons mixed up for the month. Who could describe the December tornado that devastated St. Louis better than the 5-year-old little girl interpreting for her Spanish-speaking mother and father? Her father covered their bodies with his while the disastrous winds took away their house. Unscripted, she pointed at the lone wall still standing with a framed photo of the Virgin of Guadalupe and said, "That's all we have left." I may not understand the science of climate change, but my vote is for the 5-year-old whose voice matters in the end. And Monique Farrell's poem is "When They See Us, Still They Do Not See," parts 2 and 3. Part 2. I am Tamir Rice. To be Black is to never be given the benefit of the doubt, a lesson I will learn too late in my brief respite of a life. This truism is what we make of the necessary, and its fragmented pieces is among the things we may keep on the journey home. On this day, my smile is as big as a moon, for I am free and left to my own devices. At play, bad guys against the good. I imagine myself in a white 10-gallon hat, meting out justice for the villains who have come to my neighborhood. But today, I am hammer and fist. Then aim my toy pistol at all miscreants, and it is pow, no more poverty anywhere. Poof, no more drug dealers. I am zealous and self-righteous today, and none escape me. I race, wind cool and crisp, stinging at the edges, so much so my eyes fill with tears, then run loose, and I am baptized, for the hard earth knows what I am up to, understands my meaning. None shall escape me. My mother is safe today, so too are my siblings. In this world, held fast by my sheer will, I am something to behold, but to be black is to never be given the benefit of the doubt. To the outside world, beyond my finite bubble, I am suspicious. A thug with a gun, a banger, mad dog to be put down. And so I am put down. Even before I can understand my gunman's meaning. Can't you see, I say, I am one of you. I say, look at my 10-gallon hat. The bad guys laid low around me. Everything is safe in my world today because of me. But I learned the hard way today that I am not Ralphie, that my existence is not a looped Christmas tree movie, some beloved 80s film set in the yesteryear 50s, and that neither decade nor time in any measure belong to me. For little black boys are not allowed to play, and so the power is taken from me. I am nothing until I become even less. Am now a shadow they will excuse and explain away while pretending to wear 10-gallon hats. And I watch in the light as they threaten my weeping siblings. My mother, too, is given the choice to contain her mourning for her dead son, be at a distance, or be cuffed and beaten. Her grief to them is a hate crime, something else that must be explained away. It is only on days like these little black boys fully understand why their mothers moan so much in church on Sundays. The choices they are given are never good ones, are always life and death decisions that seem so immediate. Suddenly, I no longer feel like playing. Understanding the gravity of my body's new meaning, I hold my mother's hand. She feels nothing, but I feel the weight of it all, and then turn to take the long journey home where so many like me are now walking and waiting. Part 3, I am Breonna Taylor. I move through the world like silk, gliding easy like this. I learned from my mama to be vulnerable and fragile because the world does not think me so, to be lighter than my black body and gentler than the treatment of it. This is the gospel of existence. Exude beauty as they call you ugly, then dream yourself big once they draw defining lines through your neighborhood. It is always a game of opposites, and so I learned to dance, taking deep, long strides through and against life, ever so careful steps, standing always in the light, learned to be almost in the way of people. For they do not look at us when we go missing because we cease being little girls that play to them the moment our tiny breasts begin to bud. We are not cared for, so we become careful with our bodies and our foottails and our voices. Too little pitch and we are overlooked. Too much and we become a sudden threat. And so our straight back, sometimes unsmiling mothers teach us how to dance, maneuver the concrete, avoid the curve, learn always how to sidestep the gutter. But inside, our bones become light, become air, become 206 little miracles we alone learn to value. What an infinite, charming breath a black body is, even when it is being chased while thinking, while working, while sleeping in your bed. I never heard them enter my home. I was too busy on the other side of the universe having a conversation with God. I was with her, as always, was in life, charming, full, engaging, delight, and laughter. I turned just for a moment to look back over my shoulder, watching as the used to be home of my life imploded, becoming bullets and dust, splintering wood, and the angering hooves of men on the hunt, the only sound. I am bade to turn back around, urged instead to look God directly in the eyes and to ignore her weeping. Am told instead it's okay to remain there with her where air and sound are light, like my black body, where the impossibility of me is a welcoming, welcome notion. And the cries and the scream of the man who loved me, then clawing out to try to touch what remained of the old me, my old black body growing fainter until they too were still, until I became less of what they made me. The end point of their bullets became more of what I am, sure-footed, free-flowing, a black body of glowing wind and possibilities, dancing happily and before the feet of God.
All right. An amazing poem and a lovely, lovely afternoon. And my work is very much about community and experiencing art together. So for my reading, I'm going to invite you to get up, to stretch a bit. We've been sitting here for quite a bit. And you see how you are surrounded by beautiful art. All this gorgeous exhibit work that's been put together so beautifully. Just please go now, move from where you are, and you can go back to your seat eventually, don't worry about it, right? Whatever you want to do. But check out the art. And I'm going to read to you while you're looking at the beautiful art on the walls, while you're looking at the books that are over there. This is a derive poem, a drifting poem. You drift with whatever's going on with you as some of my words get in and some of my words float out, and that's good. This is drifting in art. House Concert is the name of the poem, which was written upon performing at the Lightbox Artist Space in Detroit, a former Baptist church and bank. What hides under the chairs? What sighs under the upholstery? Dark forest green moans, Gothic attic theatres of smooth grey stage floor, shiny, kick the red brick. Burn hole into the past snags a tiny hair, girls rock End of camp showcase. The prophetess sings in the church, hands point skyward, fingertips in the clouds, feet in the old vault tucked away in a box of earth at night. The window under the arches is blocked up. No Detroit brick to sail right through. River right over the whale sound of authenticity. There, a shark takes a bite out of the flocked asbestos. Intestine wires loop inward. Rivets high up the wall. Pop the screw, and my hips hurt in the decade's damp. Today is your day, she sings. Her hair weaves into the radiator, the pavement cracks, amplifier, microphone, floor cushion. The empty roll awaits your feet. German Shepherd mix barks at the cri de coeur, at the wailing wall, at the unicorn hair. Just take it to the bank. Just take it to the church. Suburban lights mirror balls shoot out. The hole in the wall, patched up for the camera, for the city inspector decommissions the carpet choir stalls. Bricolage living on the liminal riot weed edge. The prophetess leans into you. Her skin is warm, her belly peeks beneath moss green sweater. Navel opens into another world. Everything you feel is appropriate. The theater anthropologist in her sun-ra door blinds sachets across the ceiling tiles scattered by a hurricane. Ride the inverse ocean. Another brick in the sea anemone blossoms on the radiator mesh. The prophetess is alone on the street corner. Cars drive by. Chain link fence cracks in the winter winds. Thank you, everybody. And I'm happy to introduce Connie Post. Connie, I'll put it right back up here. There you go. Do you want to stay down here?
I think I'll be okay. Yeah, actually, I changed my mind. Yes. So not for people over a certain age. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to read. First, I want to thank Pam, who's amazing in putting this all together. She's so incredibly full of energy and kindness and love and talent. The first poem I'm going to read is from this beautiful anthology that I'm so proud to be in, and it's called Infrastructure. I want to stop fixing the roads. Let them succumb when it's time. When the weight of a pickup truck is too much, we would know when the earth was saying, I've had enough. We would remember how to make a dirt path out of the towns of our own hysteria. We would find an old trail, walk the length like a known journey from the boarded up houses we've left behind. I want to find the only field that visits me in my dreams and pull up the grass the way my brother and I did when we were young. There in the underbelly of the earth is the place I find the small bones of childhood, frail, broken in places, waiting to be gathered. And the next one, which of course I have to find because I lost my place. It's an interesting thing for me to be here in Washington because my father grew up in a town, a very small town close to here called Elma, Washington. And there is a content warning on this poem. This is my brand new book called Between Twilight. Just came out this month. Thank you. River Call. You took your boat out on the Chehalis River and caught sturgeon with your brother who was dying of pancreatic cancer. I think of you, Father, holding up the prehistoric-looking fish, your hand in its mouth, and that half smile, half sneer. After twilight, you took us inside the cabin and put aside your cores and cut the meat from the bone and sawed through the coarse skin. You spoke to me through gritted teeth. You told me that too soon the waters would be too heavily fished and there would be too few sturgeon. You told me your own father used to take you fishing before 5 a.m. after a beating the night before. For years after you climbed out of our bunk beds, you left at dawn with a car full of whiskey and drove to that dark lake near our home, searching for your ancient self, as if the fish were still hiding from you in that deep, sandy bottom. Thank you.
I'm so thrilled to be here. I flew in at 1:50, and by 3 I'm here, and I'm hearing this gorgeous poetry. My new book, oh thank you, my new book, and I'll be signing at Red Hen. It began spontaneously after my husband's massive heart attack about 7 years ago. He was born into occupied France. And over the years of our marriage, he had told me some memories, some dreams, and that kind of became the start of this book as a tribute and a kind of celebration of who he is. He did survive. And I began to interview the extended family in France. So I'm going to read 2 of those poems. We discovered that my husband's British aunt was actually a hidden child. So she didn't talk about it. So this is an imagined. To hide a child, France, 1941, 2012. 1, who's speaking, please? It no longer matters. Who else knew? No one we trusted, no one. Was the child small enough to fit in a cupboard? One day before soldiers came, the child sauvage arrived from the blue horizon, hungry. Did the child look foreign? What does foreign look like to you? 2, how could a child travel alone? Not the child, but the wild apples in the field along the lanes past our house were our business. To collect them in season, to make the tart sauce for pork in fall. Did you hide this child out of guilt? The child was in danger from us, unmoved, gazing out our window. Did you embellish the story? 3, children harried, rounded up, and worse, here, there, as then, there. Why not close the blinds to the soaring poplars, their glossy leaves, and populated shadows? We happened to be looking hard, and at last saw that the child's danger, cracking ajar the door we thought protected us, had let the light in. And this last poem, we had always heard about how one of the cousins' fathers had come home but not stayed, and how difficult it had been. But what suddenly was shared one day at a cousin's lunch was that the father was a POW. Flight. Years later, the once child would recount almost casually how many experiments the enemy performed on the angel, whom she called father, when the angel was a POW. Because he was fallen, they cut him without anesthesia to see if it hurt. They removed an insignificant organ, then a significant one, to see if the etheric angel body could heal itself. They debated removing his wings. Some of them wanted to make him fly first, but they feared he'd escape. One came to him in pain, seeking absolution. My soul to keep, the man whispered furtively, but also frantically. Fate's upon us, he cried. The angel found language, fled. The once child had told the story many times of her father's return, how he'd been arrested a soldier but returned an angel, silent, scarred. How then the angel had left the once child's mother and how poor they were. The once child hadn't mentioned that father'd been tortured until the cousin's meal, as if silence erased trauma, and the angel always gone for good. Yes, okay. If you don't mind, I will read the poem in Through the Ash, New Leaves. And I will talk uncomfortably while I find the poem and dither a bit because I cannot find it. Oh, thank you. All right, 4 minutes. Now I've lost it, though. I was making a joke and I lost it. All right. This is a beautiful anthology, and I want to thank Pam. For all the work she does. I see it behind the scenes because we both live in Tucson. Bat hour. This morning I watched through glass a swirl of bats arc and bank in the gloam, wings spread in delicate umbrella panels, tensile spokes splayed like upside down crooked fingers. I suppose my mouth spoke, or speechless I gasped in the bat cloud's wake on the porch, wisps of shadow space swooping, synchronized as if a water dance, long tongues flitting out imperceptibly as the bats devoured dawn's bugs. Come now, I called to you, while there's time. But there was no time.
A bod after another school massacre. Your sheets are threaded with stars, shooting across their cartoon sky. But here, at least, they stop, halted mid-trajectory. I'm learning to ask for so little. All I want is not to have to bury my head in the cosmos of your curls to fall asleep. You're 4, your body a soft bag of sleepy questions. What was Haumea's name before it got collided? What musical instrument sounds the most like a ghost? I told someone once you want to be an astrobiologist, and you corrected me to say that you already are. I know it's true. You scan the stars at night for breath, believe someone is living on planet 9, and one day you will find them. Your body heavies into mine. Lungs click into a deeper and slower gear. You are as small as a galaxy in my arms. I sleep here all night, in the twin bed, swearing I won't anymore, as if I could hold your breath. My body, your locket, my body, your satellite, as if you weren't already your own solar wind, as if I could protect you. In the morning, we adjust your bunny hat like a helmet. You will go to your school, and I will go to mine. I kiss you. We zip your coat. Imagine your journey to other worlds. The teeth clench firm as fatigues. Say, astronaut, I kiss you. Thank you. It's so beautiful to be here with so many incredible poets. Oh my gosh. This next poem is for my forthcoming book. I'm going to talk about it just for 1 second. Are folks pretty familiar with what happened in Standing Rock in 2016, the Water is Life movement? I was very fortunate to be able to support some of my friends from Standing Rock in teaching and running a school for the kids who were living at the camp. So this poem comes from that. Sometimes I had to drive to the casino to get internet to like do donations and stuff, whatever, and the kids did not like that. There are no police in this poem. Only the kids balancing in their snow boots, the log beneath them rainbowed in resistance slogans, slush gray light interrupted by the bright flags of their arms. They waved down our car. Teachers, teachers! And we unclick the loose tooth of each manual lock. Dinged up doors, full weight of the kids on their handles, fly open like the arms of startled infants. There are no police in this poem. Only Shawnee Ray, my foot as her springboard, vaulting to the council, asterisking my borrowed skirt with the juice of her gas station pickle. Only Shelby's hands winging my books from the back seat, and Shaylina, who can't be bothered, wedging her knees into the narrow volumes of poetry, slick picture book covers. I'm saying there are no police in this car, where Frankie lunges over everybody, her arms and long black cape of a coat wrapped around baby Dylan, Marshmallow Man in his snowsuit, fingers sour patch sticky. Somehow, suddenly, my hands, my feet are off the wheel, the pedals. I am ankle deep in the snow. All the teachers are shivering spectators of this wild joy, and I can see it doesn't belong to me, but I can love it anyhow. There are no police anywhere. As Emma's elbow pokes the horn, beep, 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 jostling through the snow muffle of prairie, as Raina and Nyla and RJ co-sardine at the driver's seat, getaway curls smushed on the felt of the ceiling. There are no seats left in the car, so Michael and Clayton scramble the windshield, sprawl on the roof. They shouting the ecstatic tally of themselves. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 14, as they take this frame that looked so inflexible and there, make space for each of their bodies. Thank you so much, and what an incredible, and thank you so much for today. And what an absolutely incredible honor to get to introduce Anne Fisher-Ward, poet, editor, everything.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for doing this, you guys, Pam and DJ and the people here. This is really special. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to read you 2 poems from my new book. And I just want to tell you that the cover is a painting by my mother, which is really special to me. The first one is called Wooden Comb. And this is based on something that my husband and I saw in very deep rural France some years ago. I'll just mention also this book, a lot of it was written during COVID, and a lot of it was written during my sister's illness and death, so there's some darkness in the book. Wooden Comb. I want to go into a far country, get away from this knowing, rediscover light on the water and the odor of time, sun-warmed and acrid on the hillside. To go with him, to find that stone hut on a trail outside Camporier, where we walked one long ago midnight away from the village to watch moonrise across the mountains. That abandoned one-room hut, where a woman, I imagined, once combed her hair with a wooden comb. My heart has grown numb. Today, buttercups blossom in the muddy fields, along the parking strips all over town, and my students calmly discuss what forms of life will exist beyond apocalypse. I cannot reconcile how the world is sweet, how the world is burning. Next door in the trees, a little bird is chipping at the night. And a love poem for my husband, Peter. This is a reverse abecedarian. So as you know, an abecedarian goes A, first line, B, second, but this goes backwards. Jagged paradise. Zing. You're alive, aren't you? X-rays show nothing wrong. Why fight against this happiness? Violets clustering between the bricks on the front walk, under the pecan tree, spider lilies intricate and scarlet, Theo, the tuxedo cat, lapping cream on the porch. Sunlight on the trail this morning warms my love's neck and his worn red shirt. It gilds the bulrushes, silvers the feathery grasses. Quick, look, as we walk, the heron who lives by the little pond rises heavy-bodied into the trees. One rudbeckia, one purple zinnia. Not much else grows where the trail branches off into darkness. Moon tonight is full, sailing around the sky, clouds whipping past. Leaning on my husband, I crook my neck to look up at the sky. Keep him safe, moon and sky. Keep him in your care, my guy in his jeans and hiking boots, his olive-colored shirt and the belt tongue that keeps curling. In my squeaky voice, I sing him, Il y a longtemps que je t'aime. How old we're growing together, him with his toenails sharp as knives, gnarly eyebrows, me with my twisted toes. We love the things we love for what they are, wrote Frost, and it's true. Every cicada sings us closer to winter now. Darkness soaks the grasses, pools beneath the trees. Come here, little one, whoever you may be. The day and night ripen blood-red berries of sumac, dogwood, roses. All the leaves are mottled and stained. Amen. Breathe in. It's late October. So thank you. And I have the pleasure of introducing Alma Garcia.
Thank you. I'm reading an excerpt of my piece that appears in the Puro Chicanx anthology. It's a part of my novel, All That Rises, that's forthcoming this fall from University of Arizona Press. And this is from a chapter called The Brown Invasion. In the bronze light of late afternoon, as Jerry Gonzalez stands at the French doors overlooking his deck, Chavela gives her orders. The coffee table, she says in Spanish. Make sure you use 2 tablespoons of wax. Just 2, only 2, top to bottom, never in circles. It's an antique. Si, senora, is the response. Jerry glides to the landing at the top of the stairs and peeks over. The heavy-set woman Chavela addresses stands with her back to him in the kitchen, her black bun drooping, the waistband of her pants bunching beneath her t-shirt. She shifts between feet in bread loaf-sized athletic shoes. Chavela, with her pixie cut, her pink blouse, her pantsuit the color of ashes. También las ventanas, por favor, she adds briskly, tapping the bottle of Windex on the kitchen island. The woman nods, for she is the new maid. The maid. There's no way in hell he's addressing this woman as "tú." Dad, calls a voice behind him. Can I take one of the cars? Adam, their son, pokes his head from his bedroom. Black attire as ever, orange stripes in his hair, eyebrow with ring inserted without permission, and which he is required to remove in the presence of his grandmother. Where? Adam shrugs. He has developed a theory that matriculated seniors shouldn't have to explain everything. Having graduated from high school a mere week ago, he is focused mostly on packing things into duct tape boxes in anticipation of the day his parents will drive the 700 miles to San Diego to deposit him at a dormitory's doorstep. God forbid he should attend El Paso Serviceable University, where it so happens his father recently achieved tenure. But Adam desires new experiences and opportunities. He wants to see more of the world. Of course Jerry has encouraged his curiosity. Of course both he and Chavela want only what's best for him. Although, if this were completely true, Chavela wouldn't have spent the past 2 weekends angrily cleaning out the garage. Take the Volvo, he says now. Return by midnight. Adam grins. Thanks, viejo. He disappears. Jerry returns to his desk, his embossed tome, Sons of Oñate, Modern Colonialism in the American Southwest. From downstairs comes a surprised female gasp, followed by the yapping of a small dog. He oozes back out of the room. Chavela's Pomeranian dances on its hind legs. Ay, Paquito. Chavela stoops down and tickles him under the chin. She extracts a dog biscuit. Her voice rises an octave. Who's my good boy? Are you my good boy? Yes, you are. And the biscuit is snapped up in midair. She looks up from the floor. ¿Te gustan los perros? The maid is practically standing with one foot on top of the other. Si, senora. Adam breezes into the room, car keys jingling. Hi, sweetheart, Chavela says. Say hello to Lourdes. What's up, Lourdes? Chavela gives him a narrow look. Hola, he says. He takes a Coke from the refrigerator before he slips out. Chavela shakes her head. ¿Y tú? ¿Tienes hijos? Lourdes nods, but Paquito has started yapping and dancing again, and her voice is lost in the racket. The coffee table, Chavela says. Don't forget, top to bottom, not in circles, never. It streaks, it smears, it's an antique. And by the way, there's a sandwich in the refrigerator for you. Muy bien, senora, gracias. Chavela makes her gathering sounds. Papers, keys, sunglasses. Senor Gonzalez is upstairs, she says. He'll be home for the summer, researching, writing. In any case, he knows you're here. She pauses as though to let this information sink in. And I myself will be back in a few hours. Goodbye. Jerry cracks open Sons of Oñate. He whaps it shut. He descends through a rising aroma of pine sol into the kitchen, where he comes upon the maid herself, a dowdy vision in rubber gloves and 70s-era headphones from which are emanating the sounds of a soccer game at tremendous volume. She stands with her back to him, filling a bucket of hot water at the sink. Welcome back, booms the announcer, to the mid-season game of the Primera División, and it's shaping up to be the biggest game yet of 2005. Chivas have the ball. He watches coolly as she removes the bucket to the floor and scrubs the sink. Foul on Silva. Monarcas get the penalty kick. Chivas take possession in midfield. Enriquez passes to Medrano to Burciaga, but no. Chivas recapture and Vermeulen, the Belgian, takes the ball. He's closing in. He shoots. See, she chants at the ceiling. Goal! Perde poste. She hisses through her teeth. Me lleva. Buenas tardes, he calls out. She startles and whirls to him. Ay, perdón. She shuts off her headphones and removes them, blushing. Buenas tardes, señor. He forces a tight smile. Usted se llama Lourdes, no? Her dark complexion models as she nods at the window over the sink. Does she think he's making fun of her by speaking to her as an equal? He has no idea. He removes a casserole dish of macaroni and cheese from the refrigerator and inserts it into the microwave, then snatches up the remote from the kitchen island. The TV squawks to life in the den. The news is nattering on again about the fence, every bit of disconnected chain link and barbed wire along the border converted into a 700-mile wall of concrete and steel. Brownsville to San Diego, in theory. Also, the war in Iraq. Some new mid-occupation iteration of the U.S. invading somebody, bombing somebody, installing somebody, evading somebody. He zaps the TV off. Remind me of how often we'll be seeing you, Lourdes? Twice a month, senor. The microwave beeps. She mops. He fills a glass with ice and Diet Coke. Well, he says, have fun. Thank you. Last but not least, please give up for Derek Sheffield.
So, I've been told a couple of things this afternoon while I've been here. One thing I've been told is that you're wearing a nice dad shirt. The other thing I've been told is I'm the last one today. So this is it. I want to thank you all for your words. You had me at the glory hole poem. This is I'm just reading one little poem for you, and this is from a forthcoming issue of Cutthroat, and I want to thank Pam and Jacqueline for finding it in the pile. It's called Hawk, and it's dedicated for J.M. It's a thing far older than hate in her glass brown eye, something to do with the tendon she would sever if I gave her the chance. That is what I'm pressing to my heart with one hand, while with the other I pick with chopsticks a gobbet dripping from a glass, move slowly over and push into her throat. No matter which words I offer each time I come and reach my gloved hand, she snap-cocks her wings and splays her bill into hooked scissors. Not long now before we return to where she was found, a ponytailed girl waiting to be the last human to touch her, to toss her into the air, huge wings struggling into flight. But for now, here, the knife of her heart next to mine. How tethered she is to no man. How she needs me like the sun needs the wind to burn. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for this amazing gathering and reading and words. And again, so much thanks to Whitney and Robert and Timothy. And can people leave their emails with you guys for the books? Yeah. Okay.
And I'd like to add my thank you to all the readers. You were wonderful. Thank you so much for making this event one of the best at AWP. Maybe the best.
Thank you.